Hi, my name is Yash, and today my group and I are going to demonstrate how to make a homemade vacuum cleaner with just using these materials. To make a bottle vacuum cleaner, you must have the proper materials to do so. The items consist of a motor, plastic bottle, a tin can, a tube, metal wires, cloth, styrofoam, glue tag, and double-sided.
The aim of the project is to recycle and reuse plastic bottles. This will help the community by having to spend less money and save electricity.
It also helps save the environment because millions of plastic bottles and trash are thrown away. Therefore, this helps us save the environment and recycle so that we can maintain our environment and nature.
Its application in daily life is very useful. It can save you money and electricity. It also works properly and it's very simple to make it.
Instead of wasting energy and spending more money, why not use bottle vacuum cleaner that saves up money and electricity?
Acid rain is any type of rain that contains acidic components such as sulfuric or nitric acid. These acids fall to the ground in wet or dry forms. Some examples are acid rain, snow, fog, hail, or acidic dust.
It results from a process of chemical reactions involving pollution and water molecules in the air.
Acid rain damages buildings, monuments, and statues, especially those made of limestone and marble. as they contain a large amount of calcium carbonate. The calcium compounds react with the acid, damaging them.
2,000 years later, 6.5 hours later, a few inches later, day 2, day 3, day 4, a few moments later.
Acid rain causes to harm our rivers, streams, and lakes. As acid rain falls on trees, it can make them lose their leaves, damage their bark, and stunt their growth.
Acid falling on forest soil is also harmful because it disrupts soil nutrients.
A great way to reduce acid rain is to produce energy without using fossil fuels. Instead, people can use renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power. Renewable energy sources help reduce acid rain because they produce much less pollution.
In conclusion, acid rain is an important problem which may result in many bad things. As we can see from the experiment, acid rain has a bad impact on plants and everything in the environment. The amount of health issues that are there could have been decreased and avoided if acid rain wasn't a thing, which is why we need to come together as a society and try to stop air pollution. If acid rain continues to go on, more people will get sick and our environment will get destroyed even more. We cannot let this happen. Let's stop acid rain. Now we can see why it's important for engineers to keep toxins out of the air.
Hi everyone!
Today we are going to talk about the causes of climate change and the chemistry behind it.
First of all, what is climate change? Climate change is a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. These changes have a broad range of observed effects that are synonymous with the term. The causes of climate change include deforestation, garbage, and an increased use of fossil fuels.
Yes, in addition, did you know that the greenhouse gases are also one of the causes of climate change? The greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface. When the sun's energy reaches the Earth's atmosphere, some of it is reflected back to space and the rest is absorbed and re-radiated by the greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, and some artificial chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons. The absorbed energy warms the atmosphere and the surface of the Earth. This process maintains the Earth's temperature at around 33 degrees Celsius, warmer than it would otherwise be, allowing life on Earth to exist. Step 1. Solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere. Some of this is reflected back into space. Step 2. The rest of the sun's energy is absorbed by the land and the oceans, heating the Earth. Step 3. Heat radiates from Earth towards space. Step 4. Some of this heat is trapped by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, keeping the Earth warm enough to sustain life. Step 5. Human activities such as burning fossil fuels, agriculture, and land clearing are increasing the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere. Step 6. This is trapping extra heat and causing the Earth's temperature to rise.
So how exactly does the greenhouse affect climate change? This heats the Earth's atmosphere and ultimately contributes to increasingly warmer climates, a process known as global warming. Common greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, methane, nitrous oxide, and tropospheric ozone.
The emission of certain substances to the atmosphere produces a greenhouse effect contributing to global warming. A variety of other gases contributes to the greenhouse effect, including solvents, chlorofluorocarbons, and other volatile organic compounds, or nitrogen and sulfur oxide.
Increased carbon dioxide retains more heat energy, leading to the overall trend of global warming. The change in energy due to current increases in carbon dioxide levels is the equivalent of stringing 1.7 Christmas tree light bulbs on every square meter of the planet's surface.
In addition, the extra carbon dioxide is causing an enhanced greenhouse effect, greater than would happen naturally. This is a correlation between the increase in the atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration and temperature change. As the concentration of carbon dioxide has increased, the global average temperature has generally increased too. Now, I want to ask, what causes the greenhouse effect?
The greenhouse effect is caused by the atmospheric accumulation of gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, which contains some of the heat emitted from the Earth's surface. The atmosphere allows most of the visible light from the sun to pass through and reach Earth's surface.
I want to know more about the greenhouse effect. Aisha, how does the human activities affect the greenhouse effect?
Humans are increasingly influencing the climate and the Earth's temperature by burning fossil fuels, cutting down rainforests, and farming livestock. This adds enormous amounts of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming.
We chose this topic because we wanted to be more informed about it. We wanted to see how important climate change is to the environment. I think that's about it for now. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you liked this video.
Hello, my name is Prisha.
Hi, my name is Disha.
Hi, my name is Kushbu.
Hey everyone, my name is Benaya, and today me and my group are going to be talking about what's causing sea level to rise.
And the main reason we chose this topic was because we all found it very, very interesting, and it is something that the world is undergoing. So we all thought it was a very important issue to talk about.
The global sea level rise is an increase in the level of the world's oceans due to the effects of global warming. One major cause of the sea level rise is the melting of land ice and sea ice because of global warming. Global warming is a gradual increase in the Earth's temperature, and this is caused by the increased level of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The global sea level has been rising over the past century, and the rate has increased in the recent decades. Sea level continues to rise at an average rate of 1.3 inches per year. There are many consequences as to sea level rise. When sea levels rise rapidly, it can cause destructive erosion, wetland flooding, and agricultural soil contamination. This will lead to a loss in habitat for fish, birds, and plants.
The rise of sea levels can threaten plant and animal life. Another reason for the rise of sea level is due to the increase in volume that happens when the water is heated. This is called thermal expansion. Thermal expansion and ice melt are the results of rise in global average temperatures on land and sea known as climate change. Global sea level has been rising over the past couple of years. Sea level is set to rise at a rate of 1/8 of an inch every year. Now, I will be stating some facts about the rise of sea levels. Number 1. Global sea levels have risen by 8 inches since 1880. The rate that the sea level is rising. sea levels rose by 1.4 mm from 1900s to 2000. It had then went to 3 mm by 2010, and now it's up to 3.6 mm every year. Sea levels could rise 1.3 meters in the next 80 years. About 216 million people currently live on land that would be below sea levels by 2100. The rise of sea level can contaminate water used for drinking. The rise of sea levels can threaten plant and animal life.
Icebergs and frozen seawater also melt in warm temperatures but do not cause sea level to rise. This is because they are already in water. The volume of water they displace as ice is the same as the volume of water they add to the ocean when they melt. In conclusion, this means that the sea level does not rise when the sea ice melts.
Spreading awareness through social media will attract a huge audience with a varied age group. By doing so, more people who agree with the cause will spread the news by reposting, and by that you will successfully spread the news.
Hello, my name is Viren.
And my name is Jared.
My name is Avish.
And my name is Ryu. Throughout our presentation, we will be talking about COVID-19, air pollution, and also about our investigation based on our research. Enjoy!
Our focus. How does the topic relate to us? Global warming is a highly important issue everyone encounters every day. Excessive carbon dioxide emissions and greenhouse gas emissions, GHG, lead to rising temperatures, melting polar caps, and eradicating animal habitats. Poor air quality leads to permanent health effects such as, but not limited to, decreased lung function, loss of lung capacity, and diseases such as asthma, bronchitis, and a possibility of cancer. Every day, waking up and looking at the dull sky unmotivates people to work. All we would like is to breathe fresh air, not to breathe dirty air.
A newly identified coronavirus has caused a worldwide pandemic of respiratory illness called COVID-19. The COVID-19 can affect many people in different ways. Most people infected with the virus will show moderate symptoms, but will usually recover without requiring hospitalization. Some of the most common symptoms of COVID-19 are fever, cough, and tiredness. Some unlikely symptoms would be the loss of taste and the loss of smell. This virus has taken more than 2.1 million lives and has left more than 7% of the Indonesian population without any jobs. This virus has forced numerous countries into full lockdowns, which has helped lower carbon emissions in few countries, but Indonesia is still yet to see a full lockdown. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is one of the first things to be made in China, which lasts this long.
Pollution is now an ordinary term that our ears are very aware of. We hear about the different forms of pollution every day and read about it through the TV, the internet, the social media, and etc. Air pollution is one such form that refers to the contamination of the air. A physical or chemical change to the air in the atmosphere can be termed as a pollution. It happens when any harmful gases, dust, smoke enters into the atmosphere and makes it hard for plants, animals, and humans to survive as the air becomes dirty. Air pollution is caused by gas-powered cars, burning coal, factories, and many more. We can prevent these from happening in different ways, such as using electric cars, reduce smoking, reduce burning trash, and many more.
Our hypothesis on how the pandemic affects air pollution in Indonesia is that nothing really changed. We think that in Indonesia, despite the lockdowns and protocols, many Indonesians still go out irresponsibly with cars, motorcycles, buses, etc. We think that even though there's a pandemic happening in Indonesia, the air pollution has not changed at all. After undergoing lots of research, the results showed that our hypothesis was somewhat incorrect. Actually, before COVID had struck, the vehicles going around in Indonesia were so much more compared to nowadays, although the number of vehicles that decreased weren't drastic. Due to many lockdowns and protocols ever since COVID started, many people working in the factory have lessened the time spent there, therefore lowering the amount of air pollution exposed. The pandemic has caused lots of stress to many people. According to some sites, due to boredom and stress, people tend to pick up bad habits like smoking. In Indonesia, there are many smokers, and due to the pandemic, the amount of smokers have increased, which causes increasing amounts of air pollution.
AQI stands for the Air Quality Index. Air Quality Index is an index for reporting air quality on a daily basis. It is a measure of how air pollution affects one's health within a short period of time. The purpose of the AQI is to help people know how the local air quality affects their health, for which national air quality standards have been established to safeguard public health.
After doing a lot of research, we have come to the conclusion that we were wrong when we said that the air pollution in Indonesia wouldn't have changed due to the pandemic. But surprisingly, when we compared the data, we realized that although most people in Indonesia still frequently go out, many factories have closed, and therefore many people wouldn't have to commute to the factory and from the factory. The continuation of the lockdowns have resulted in a decrease of the carbon emitted, which has helped increase the air quality in Indonesia. Yet, we can say that when we ease the lockdowns, emissions will start accelerating as well.
These are the sites we used for the research.
Thank you for listening and hope you have a wonderful day.
Also can be called a hydrologic cycle. The water cycle is the path that all water follows as it moves around the Earth in different states. Many processes involved in the water cycle.
Evaporation. This process in the form of liquid state is transferred into gaseous or into vapor state. The transfer process takes place when the molecules that are in water mass have accomplished the kinetic energy to electron themselves from the water surface.
Transpiration is the evaporation of the water passes through the minute pores in the base of plants.
Condensation. The process transitions from the vapor state to the liquid state, which is called condensation. Condensation might take place as soon as air contains more than the water vapor, but for received from a free water surface to evaporation at the prevailing. This process takes place in consequence of cooling or mixing the air masses at different temperatures.
After the process of condensation, the water vapor in the atmosphere was released to build up precipitations. Precipitations drop to the earth in 4 different ways: rain, drizzle, ice pellets, and snow.
The sum of the water cycle process. The water cycle has no starting point. Let's focus on the ocean first. Oceans are where the most of the earth water exists. The sun, which drives all the process. The heated water throughout the oceans. Some of the water evaporates as a state of vapor into air. Ice, snow, and sublimate also can directly upload into water vapor, and then starting to raise into the atmosphere. Along with the water from the process of evapotranspiration, that the water transfer out of the plants along with evaporate soil. The vapor comes up into the air where cooler temperature condenses into cloud. Cloud particles starting to collide, grow, and fall off the sky as the process of precipitation. Summer precipitation also follows snow, ice caps, and glaciers. The snowpacks will melt when the spring arrives. Most of the melted water flows over land as the snow melt. Most of the precipitation falls back into the ocean or on the land, and it will get back started the process and repeat over and over again, like a cycle. But water cycle. Really old groundwater is called fossil water. Only about 3% of water on Earth is fresh water or water that we can drink. Bernard Plessy was the first person who discovered water cycle. Plants sweet like humans. The sun is driving the force of water cycle. The Earth water began about 3.8 billion years ago when the rain fell on a cooling Earth, forming the oceans. Experiments that we can do it at home, and those materials we can easily find it. The things that you need from the experiments: a large bowl, a mug or a small cup, a plastic wrap, sticking or a rubber band, a scissor for cutting the plastic wrap, and water.
Place the mug or small cup in the center of the bowl. Fill the bowl with water about 2/3 of the way up cup. Do not put water inside the cup. Cover the bowl with saran wrap and either tie it to a string or place a large rubber band around it to secure the wrap.
On the area for a few hours. After several hours, the plastic wrap will have condensation, and some of the condensation will have dripped or fallen into the cup or mug. As you can see, there are few water droplets on the plastic wrap.
This experiment demonstrates the heat of the sun turning in the water to evaporation, the vapor turning back into water droplets on the saran wrap condensation, drops getting too heavy and falling back down precipitations to the water in the bowl or in the mug, which represents mountain or land collection.
Why do we choose this topic, and how does it create beneficial to Earth? The reason that we choose this topic is because every living organism needs water to survive. If the water doesn't have ability to recycle itself, we might run out of water. Plus, the technology had developed fast these days, and the needs of water increase at the same time, especially during the pandemic. So the usage of the water will be more than before. So we think it's important to collect some observation from it. Any possibility of extending your project to a better context in the future? Yes, we think the water cycle involves all the living organisms on the earth. Plus, the water cycle already has a lot of chemical changes and process in it, so we think that there's a possibility to expand more bases in our project.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to the Beacon Academy Science Fair.
Today, our research question is all about how pollution affects marine life and climate change biologically.
Cool, right?
So before we present our wonderful and fun presentation, let's talk about our main points first. So what is pollution exactly?
Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. So, today, we're going to be talking about the pollutants in the water that affect our poor little sea creatures.
As hard as this is to say, we have all contributed to this damage, making us the evil mastermind that is obstructing the homes and lives of our little aquatic animals.
But not to worry, we can slowly save our animals by making a few changes that we will introduce to you later. Without further ado, let's get started.
So, how does water pollution affect aquatic life and contribute to climate change? By Helena Pagayanan and Anushka Dushant. Basic facts about the ocean. Oceans cover about 71% of the Earth's surface. Pollution of the world's oceans is quickly becoming a major problem. They play an important role in the chemical and biological balance of the life on Earth. They are vital to our food security, commerce, and transportation.
Marine pollution. The habitats of marine mammals and fish have been degraded severely, with pollution responsible for the mass deaths of fish, mammals, and corals. The definition of marine pollution. The introduction by man of substances or energy into the marine environment, which results in harm to marine life, hazards to human health, hindrance to marine activities, including fishing and other legitimate use of sea, impairment of quality for use of seawater, and reduction of amenities. Chemical contamination is concerning for health, environmental, and economic reasons. This type of pollution occurs when human activities, notably the use of fertilizer on farms, lead to the runoff of chemicals into waterways and ultimately flow into the ocean. The increased concentration of chemicals, such as nitrogen and phosphorus, in the coastal ocean promotes the growth of algal blooms, which can be toxic to wildlife and harmful to humans, as well as hurt local fishing and tourism industries.
Let's talk about the causes, shall we? Before 1972, humans around the world spewed trash, sewage sludge, and chemical, industrial, and radioactive wastes into the ocean with impunity. Millions of tons of heavy metals and chemical contaminants, along with thousands of containers of radioactive waste, were purposely thrown into the ocean. Source of pollution: land-based sources, agricultural runoff, municipal and industrial waste. Municipal and industrial waste, ocean dumping, offshore oil spills. Oil spills. Oil spills are harmful to marine birds and mammals as well as fish and shellfish. Oil destroys the insulating ability of fur-bearing mammals such as sea otters and the water repellency of birds' feathers, thus exposing these creatures to the harsh elements without the ability to repel water and insulate from the cold water. Birds and mammals will die from hyperthermia. When exposed to oil, adult fish may experience reduced growth and large livers, changes in heart and respiration rates, fin erosion, and reproduction impairment. Fish eggs and larvae can be especially sensitive to lethal and sublethal impacts. Even when lethal impacts are not observed, oil can make fish and shellfish unsafe for humans to eat. Many birds and animals also ingest oil when they try to clean themselves, which can poison them.
Impacts: litter and plastic pollution and their impacts. Many animals that live on or in the sea consume plastics by mistake, as it often looks similar to their natural prey. This causes blockage in the food passage, therefore causing death through starvation or infection. Tiny floating particles also resemble zooplankton, which can lead filter feeders to consume them and cause them to enter the ocean food chain. Plastic impact: sharp plastics can rupture internal organs and bags, can cause intestinal blockages. This happens to animals such as turtles. They are unable to feed, resulting in starvation. Even if they survive, consuming plastic can make turtles unnaturally buoyant, which can stunt their growth and lead to slow reproduction rates.
Millions of animals are killed by plastics every year, from birds to fish to other marine organisms. Nearly 700 species, including endangered ones, are known to have been affected by plastics. Nearly every species of seabird eats plastics. Most of the deaths to animals are caused by entanglement or starvation. Microplastics make their way up to the ocean food chain into fish. These plastics and toxic chemicals could accumulate in food chains, eventually making their way into animals that eat ocean creatures such as birds, bears, and ourselves. When small organisms die off, such as kelp and small fishes, they wipe out the food source of bigger fish and its predators, leaving a chain of starvation. Contaminants on microplastic are absorbed by animals and enter the food chain. If they don't kill the animals, these toxic chemicals may affect the animals' behavior and hormone levels.
And what we've been waiting for, ways to reduce marine pollution. Reduce single-use plastics. Purchase and carry reusable versions, such as reusable shopping bags, bottles, utensils, metal straws, takeout containers, and any other plastic items that are used once, then discarded. Recycle. Recycling helps keep plastics out of the ocean and reduces the amount of new plastic in circulation. Participate in or organize a beach or river cleanup. Help remove plastic from the ocean and prevent them from getting there in the first place by participating in or organizing a cleanup of your local beach or a waterway. Organizing and participating in these cleanups can help our animals so much. It keeps them safe and helps give them a clean habitat. Support organizations addressing plastic pollution. There are many non-profit organizations working to reduce and eliminate ocean plastic pollution in a variety of different ways, including Oceanic Society, Plastic Pollution Coalition, 5 Gears Al Galata, Plastic Soup Foundation, and others. In conclusion, the ocean pollution is a global problem in the world that is suffered by many organisms. It is important to think seriously to solve all pollution in the sea because it is a place to keep marine species alive, as they also considered one of the important sources for humanity.
Thank you to our sources. It was rather challenging to have done this on our own, but these websites were a great deal of help to our research for the Beacon Academy Science Fair.
Hope you guys enjoyed this presentation.
See you guys next time. Stay happy and safe as always.
Bye-bye.
Hello everybody, my name is Sabri.
And my name is Junha.
And today we will be presenting our topic for our science exhibition. Is the water around you drinkable?
By Junha Sabri.
Research question. Are all waters we use are drinkable?
Sub-question. Is boiling water effective?
4 components we have in this experiment. We have bottled water, rainwater from the sky, rainwater from the roof, and tap water.
Hypothesis. Bottled water will be safer to drink than tap water and rainwater. Bottled water will have a safer pH, a little foreign particles, and less amount of bacteria than other water. But for those who don't have access to clean water, rainwater could be another drinkable substance.
So, our test consists of 3 types of tests. We have bacteria testing, pH testing, and turbidity testing. So, before we see the result, I am going to present a video about us doing the test before boiling and after boiling. See you. Thank you for watching.
watching.
And then I will be showing you guys the sources. So we have our first source and our second source. Once again, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Hi guys, welcome to our video for the 2021 Science Exhibition. Today we're going to tell you guys all about how global warming affects our environment and wildlife.
Good morning, we're Charlita and Caleb from Year 9. Today we're going to explain about global warming and what is happening to our planet. What is global warming? I am going to tell you all about it.
Global warming is a gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere caused by the thinning of the ozone layer, which is caused by the greenhouse effect. What is the greenhouse effect?
Well, the greenhouse effect is a natural process that makes the Earth warm. There are 5 main greenhouse gases: water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. Yes.
As you can see on the left side,
there's a picture about the greenhouse effect with 2 sentences explaining the greenhouse effect. Yes.
So what is the cause and effect of global warming?
Besides the greenhouse effect, global warming can be caused by other ways. One of them is deforestation. Why? Because trees supply oxygen and keeps the earth cool. By deforestation, numerous amounts of trees were chopped down, so Earth's oxygen supply decreases gradually, causing an increase of the temperature. You got it. What will happen to the environment? There are many effects of global warming and climate change to our environment. Here are some. Melting of ice and glacier in the Arctic, causing the polar animals to lose their habitat. Increased number of forest fires, causing the animals to die due to heat. Higher wildlife extinction rates. Severe weather changes.
Next
and
slide.
There's more.
So what are the
moving
solutions?
on to the solutions. I'm just going out of frame. Yep, let's go. Well, here are 6 solutions we can do, but there are more obviously. Well, the first one is reducing plastic waste. Instead of disposing it, reuse it if it still can be used and clean, hopefully. Well, next one is planting trees. Replant trees. It helps a lot. Trust me. The third one is saving water. There are a lot of countries suffering from not having clean water. We could be helping them. The fourth one is using alternative energy. Instead of using fossil fuel, use solar energy or other types like that. The fifth one is bike or walk. It saves fuel and is better for reducing pollution. You know, in case you want to be healthy at the same time.
Yeah, by walking you can exercise, you know?
Yes, since like we're currently having a pandemic and we haven't had that much exercise for like a year, we can bike or walk, but just stay safe, okay?
Wear a mask.
For the sixth one, it's throwing waste properly. Please throw trash in the trash can or any place provided, because if you don't, a lot of people will be suffering, and so will you.
There are a lot of impacts of you not throwing trash properly. One of them, if you throw a lot of trash into the river, it can cause flood, you know.
And it's
water
also
blockage.
it's also making some types of fish die easily due to the pollution. But
That is not our main topic today, so we're just gonna move on. So,
well, lastly, the summary. Global warming is a gradual increase on the Earth's average temperature. There are many causes of global warming, and one of them is deforestation. Trees or forests reduces the amount of carbon dioxide and other gases trapping heat on the planet. Every cause has an effect. One of the effects of global warming that impacts us is increased fire threats, which means that the rate of forest fires increases due to high temperature. To prevent global warming, we can replant trees in bulk forests, reduce plastic waste, use alternative energy instead of fossil fuels because it can lead to pollution.
Thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful
Credits are at the bottom right of the slide.
This presentation
This presentation template was created by SlidesGo, including icons by Flaticon and infographics and images by FreePay. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Hi everyone! Today we are going to take a look at our website that we made for our 2021 Beacon Science project. First of all, I am going to introduce you to our team. Our team consists of 3 people, which is me, Anindita, Vanessa, and Simran.
Our aim with this website is to create a platform where we can raise awareness about the harmful effects of plastic and to influence the people around us about it. And you can also read about the harmful effects of plastic, and you can also read about how you can make a change. There is also a comment section for people who would like to add any information or share their experiences.
And that is it from us. A quick reminder that there is a giant 1.6 square kilometer island of plastic accumulated in the Pacific Ocean. It is time for each and every one of us to take action, and together we can make a significant difference. Thank you.
Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about water pollution, a presentation made by myself, Nemo, and Abi from the Year 11 ESS group. What is water pollution? It occurs when a pollutant are introduced to a body of water without having the harmful substances removed. Water pollution can affect the surrounding environment as well as the animals and plants living in the body of water. Causes of water pollution. Water pollution happens when pollutants are introduced to a body of water. This can happen multiple ways, examples being human littering, oil spill, mining activities, use of chemical fertilizers, or pesticides, chemicals and heavy metals from factories. Effects of water pollution. The human impacts of water pollution is that people can die from consuming something that was in the polluted body of water. They can also get diseases or bacterial infections from the water. And lastly, they can also get skin infection. Environmental impacts. It's hard for the animals and plants to live in the water, which causes a disruption in the food web which will harm the ecosystem. Plastic found in the ocean kills the aquatic sea life. Chemicals and heavy metals coming from factories' waste makes animals unable to reproduce and have a long lifespan, as the toxin will accumulate in the organism's body. Places with worst cases of water pollution: Chernobyl, Ukraine; Citarum River, located in Indonesia; Hazaribagh, Bangladesh; Kabwe, Zambia; and Kalimantan in Indonesia. Solutions to water pollution. You should try reducing your plastic consumption, recycle and reuse plastic. Properly throw away chemical cleaners, oils, and non-biodegradable stuff. Avoid using pesticides and herbicides. Ways of water treatment. Do not pour any used cooking fats such as oil down the sink. Secondly, do not sink in any toxic chemicals or any chemicals in general, as well as drugs and medicines, down the toilet. And avoid using the toilet as a waste removal. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amelia and I'm from grade 11. Today, me and Nixie will be presenting our science project.
Hello, my name is Nixie and our project today is basically about how the concentration of salt can affect buoyancy.
southwestern part of Asia, there is the Dead Sea, which is a salt lake located between Israel and Jordan. As you may be aware of, if you have ever swum in the Dead Sea, you would usually be able to float freely to the surface of the water. This is able to occur due to the large amount of salt that is present in the body of water. Before we explain the reason for this interesting event, we must first take note of two concepts. These two concepts are density and buoyancy. Density is the mass of a material per unit volume, while buoyancy is a tendency for an object to rise or float in a fluid. The buoyant force is supposed to be the upward force that pushes objects to the surface of a liquid. These two concepts are linked to each other and help to explain why is it possible for someone to float while swimming in the Dead Sea. So, when certain objects, like the egg for example, will sink to the bottom of a cup with plain water, this means that the density of the water is lower than the object itself, and that the buoyant force would not be large enough to support the object. However, if the density of the liquid was higher than the density of the object, then the buoyant force would be large enough to be able to make the object float. So in this case, salt increases the density of the water so that the buoyant force increases and allows the egg to float to the surface.
The theme of this year's science fair revolved around the Earth, and so, for our project, we have decided to focus more on oceanography, a branch of Earth sciences that focuses on the different aspects of the ocean. We decided to focus more on the physical aspect of oceanography since we were mainly focusing on the effect of salt on our oceans. So while we were brainstorming for certain experiments for topics we wanted to focus on in our project, we came across some articles and experiments on salt and the importance it has on our oceans. The Dead Sea was something that eventually came into consideration in our research.
Thus, that is why we decided to do this simple experiment.
Today, Emily Maureen and I will be talking about greenhouse gases and how their emissions induce climate change through the global phenomenon known as global warming.
The sun strikes the Earth's atmosphere with tremendous amounts of radiation, including ultraviolet radiation, infrared radiation, etc. According to NASA, about 30% of the radiation is reflected back out space by clouds or other reflective surfaces. The land's ocean absorb the remaining 70%. The greenhouse gases are gases that are absorbed in the atmosphere, a significant factor in the process of the greenhouse effect, which is the process of incoming and outgoing radiation that warms the Earth.
A greenhouse gas is any gaseous compound in the atmosphere that is capable of absorbing infrared radiation, thereby trapping and holding heat in the atmosphere. By increasing the heat in the atmosphere, greenhouse gases are also responsible for the greenhouse effect, which ultimately leads to global warming. Moreover,
the greenhouse effect is a natural part of our atmosphere, which keeps the Earth at a human-friendly temperature. However, the interference of human activity, such as burning fossil fuels, has aided in trapping the extra heat in the atmosphere, causing the temperature to rise. Furthermore, an estimated temperature of 0.07 degrees Celsius is currently increasing the global temperature yearly for land and sea combined.
Moreover, an increase in the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases may produce a positive climate forcing or warming effect. Therefore, this causes climate change by trapping heat and contributing to a respiratory disease from smog and air pollution. Not only that, some of the effects of climate change caused by greenhouse gases are extreme weather and food supply disruption that increase in wildfire. In addition to all, carbon dioxide and other gases act like a blanket, which means these gases tend to absorb IR radiation and prevent it from escaping into outer space. Usually, the net effect, which is gradual heating of Earth's atmosphere and surface, is more common as a process known as global warming.
Nowadays, scientists usually define climate change as a complex shift due to greenhouse gases which affects the Earth's weather and climate. Not only do climate change cause rising average temperatures, otherwise known as global warming, but extreme weather changes, relocation of wildlife population and habitats, rising sea levels, and much more. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, humans have exacerbated the total production of greenhouse gases by 37% from 1990 to 2015. Agriculture activities produce greenhouse gases like methane, whereas deforestation is the second most activity which emits carbon dioxide, according to research by Duke University.
Electricity production is one of the largest sources of greenhouse gas emissions, supplying around 26% of yearly global emissions. Worldwide, 15 gigatons of CO2 equivalent was generated in 2016 from electricity production alone. Because of the low efficiencies of power plants relying on non-renewable energy sources, for example, average efficiencies of generating electricity from coal is 35%, 45% for natural gas, and 38% for oil-fired generations. Over half of the input potential energy has been converted into thermal energy, or in better words, wasted.
Despite the average increase in temperature, we can thank our vast ocean, which absorbs 80 to 90% of heat generated from global warming. Oceans can absorb up to 1,000 times the heat as the atmosphere with only a small change in temperature. And why, you may ask? It is because of their tremendous amount of heat capacity. Imagine that the balloon represents the whole Earth's atmosphere and the candle represents the sun. As the balloon pops, this means that the heat capacity of air is very low as it does not absorb any heat at all. It pops almost after we put the candle closer to the balloon, and as the air inside the balloon cannot absorb heat that fast, all of the heat went to melt the rubber. Thus, after the rubber melted, the balloon exploded. Moving on to the heat capacity of water, the balloon was then filled with water, and this represents the Earth's oceans and the candle represents the sun. Now we can see that the balloon isn't exploding because water can absorb so much heat that it takes the heat away from the surface before the rubber can melt, so it doesn't explode.
Thus, this shows that our oceans have a very high heat capacity.
Earth is home to not only us but to trillions of other living things as well. By contributing to global warming, otherwise known as the destruction of many habitats, such as the polar regions, we will be responsible for the destruction of our home. Our greenhouse gas emission rate should decrease in order to preserve Earth's climate and to keep living freely on this planet.
Hi, my name is Nata and I'm from year 11. Today, me and my partner Pranati will explain our project about limestone.
Hello, my name is Pranati and I'm in grade 11 as well. Limestone is a very diverse compound, and we hope you see this through a series of experiments.
We will guide you through this project's agenda. Here is the table of contents. First, we will introduce you to limestone, then the limestone cycle, the eggshell experiment, and finally the acid rain effect. So let's go.
So, what is limestone? Limestone is a type of carbonate sedimentary rock. It is composed mostly of minerals calcite and arcanite, which are different crystal forms of calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Hence, it is mainly composed of calcium carbonate. Limestone's color ranges from white, yellow, and gray to beige, and even cream.
Here we have the limestone cycle. First, when calcium carbonate is heated strongly, it absorbs heat and decomposes to calcium oxide, also known as quicklime. As a result, carbon dioxide is released. Calcium oxide is then reacted with water to form calcium hydroxide, which is a strong alkali, and it is also known as lake lime. And finally, calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate.
Our main character of the day will be the egg. Due to COVID, we can't get actual limestone, and hence we'll be using eggshells, which mostly consist of calcium carbonate. So here is the first video we have. Let's watch the experiment together.
context to our environment, have you ever wondered that some pesticides like DDT build up in birds' bodies when they eat other animals that have eaten it? The chemical doesn't pass through the bird's body but stays and changes how the bird's body functions. One change makes it harder for them to produce as much calcium. This will definitely have a negative effect on birds and their offspring. As we can see in the experiment, calcium carbonate is dissolved by acid. So what if acid rain occurs in nature? Will the bird's eggs corrode? Here we will see the acid rain effect.
An experiment on the effects of acid rain. But what is acid rain? Acid rain is any form of precipitation with acidic compounds such as sulfuric or nitric acid. Normal rain has a pH of 5.6. Acid rain usually has a pH between 4.2 and 4.4. Hence, acid rain has a corrosive effect on limestone, marble buildings, and even sculptures. And therefore, without any further ado, here is the second experiment.
So the experiment simulated effects of acid rain in real life. A huge reason on why we chose this project is because chemical weathering, which in most cases is caused by acid rain, has a direct impact on our environment. First, acid rain will erode buildings and sculptures made of limestone, and the after products of this erosion will flow into different water bodies like nearby rivers, streams, and lakes, affecting the pH of the water, and this will directly affect the health of small fishes and other aquatic creatures. And these are the citations, references, and credits of this project.
Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you learned a little bit more about limestone.
Thank you!